Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Oh my goodness, it's good to be here with you tonight, coming to you live for a special edition of the Brew City Lounge. Of course, I am your host, Brandon. Follow me on Twitter at Wisco_Brandon. You can go ahead and follow the show on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube at Brew City Pod. Coming to you live after a Bucks Game 7 victory. Does that feel good to say? Coming back down from the series down 0-2, when people wrote us off, when the national media and the local people told us we couldn't do it, when Giannis was told he wasn't good enough. Here's 40 points from that man Giannis in a 115-111 overtime victory for your Milwaukee Bucks. And it started with Giannis Antetokounmpo, the back-to-back MVP, the person that I'm consistently being told doesn't have a bag, can't do this, can't do that. He just threw 40 and 12 at you tonight in a Game 7, in a deciding Game 7 against the best scorer in the NBA, maybe arguably in the NBA history. Now, look, Kevin Durant had a good game himself. Kevin Durant had 48 points in 53 minutes. James Harden had his best game of the series thus far. Obviously, he came back from injury with 22 points. Blake Griffin added 17. Looking at Milwaukee, Giannis with 40 points, Chris Middleton with 23, Jrue Holiday with 13, and PJ Tucker with 11 points. That doesn't sound like a whole lot. That's something. Your Milwaukee Bucks advance to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since the 2018-2019 season. And look, there's a lot to talk about this game. There's a ton to talk about. I just can't wrap my head around that they actually did it. I said they were going to do it, but to see them really do it on the road. No team has won on the road yet in this series until tonight. Until Giannis came out. He shot 63% from the field tonight. 33% from three-point range, 2 out of 6. 40 points for Giannis. Just an unbelievable game from him. I know there's times where he struggles. I know there's times when he takes unnecessary shots, but that's going to be part of it. Arlen, shout out to you, man. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you. Go Bucks. It was ugly, but we won. It doesn't matter, Arlen. We are moving on. Moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals, where we will either play Atlanta or Philadelphia. Shout out to Noah. He jumps up on the live feed. Now he's saying, let's go Bucks. That wasn't what he was saying after game 1 and 2. We'll let it slide. I don't really care. You can let Ashley know what I said. The Milwaukee Bucks advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals. And it just, I wasn't sure it could get done. I really, I had my doubts. After they lost game 1 and 2, I just thought they were overmatched. I thought it was just too much. I thought Kevin Durant was going to be too much. He was going to get possibly James Harden back in the series, which obviously we saw. He obviously Kyrie Irving goes down with the bad ankle injury in game 3. They squeak out a victory in game 3 with an 86-83, really ugly game. And you're looking at game 4 and they won that game as well, by 15, but it never really felt good. The series really never felt good. Then it goes to game 5 out in Brooklyn, and you weren't really sure what to expect with that game because, again, no road team in this series had won a game, and Milwaukee came out and punched them in the mouth. They were up 15, 17, 16, 13 points pretty much the whole entire game until late in that third quarter going into that fourth quarter. And look, if Milwaukee had lost tonight, they didn't. But had they have lost tonight, Brooklyn was supposed to win the series, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care about Kyrie Irving. I don't care about James Harden's hamstring. That's not my problem. That's not the Bucks' problem. These guys cannot determine who gets injured and who's not. Now I see Max Kellerman over on Twitter talking about these. What a great game 7, but the injuries are the story of this playoff game. Shut up. It's the end of the year. Everybody's banged up. Everybody. It is what it is. You don't talk about LeBron James's title last year and talking about how it wasn't a real title because he played in Disneyland. I don't want to hear. There's no excuses. It sucks what's happened to James Harden. It sucks what happened to Kyrie Irving. That's the karma you get for trying to go and win a title. That's the karma you get for going and gaining 30 pounds in Houston, James Harden, and winning your way out of Houston and leaving them behind. That's what you get. Carrie, my mom, thank you guys for jumping on. I appreciate you. The Milwaukee Bucks are advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals where they will either play Atlanta or Philadelphia. And there's just so much to talk about within this game, within this series. Milwaukee had a chance late in regulation. Kevin Durant hits a clutch shot to put it out to overtime, and the Bucks just toughness. This is what you see, Carrie. Thank you so much. This is what you see when a team like the Milwaukee Bucks with grit. They don't do anything real well. I guess they had the number one offense in the NBA last year, but within the regular season, but it's not, at times they struggle. If they're not hitting their shots, they struggle. But what they do play is really good, sound defense. They rebound the basketball. They score in the paint. Daniel Martinez, thank you, man. Thank you so much for jumping on. Check out In Plain View if you guys have not already. I was there last week. Shout out to Danny and his crew. Phenomenal place. That burger was amazing. Check them out. They're phenomenal people. What a day. Just really what a day. I was at the lake all day with my family. If you could tell, my face is red, and it was just what a day. It was just phenomenal. Chanel, shout out to you. I know you guys are out there partying. Do a shot for me. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. The support right now is pouring in right now. I don't know if I've ever had so many people on my live feed before, but this is what the Milwaukee Bucks team do. And I'm debating if I'm going down to Layton Avenue to welcome them home tonight. I'm thinking about it. It's going to be a late night, but I'm thinking about it. The Milwaukee Bucks have defeated the Brooklyn Nets in Game 7, 115-111. Giannis leading the way for the Milwaukee Bucks with 40 points. Chris Middleton, 23 points. Now, look, you could say a lot of different things about the players tonight. Jrue Holiday didn't have his best game. Chris Middleton didn't have his best game. Brook Lopez with only 19 points. Didn't have his best game. So, there's things that this team can do better. There's things that this team can do better going forward. Look, this isn't over. This isn't over. It feels like the Bucks just won the finals, but we're not done yet. We're halfway there. And that's the most important thing. Noah shouts out. He's over on YouTube. If you're not subscribed on the YouTube channel, please subscribe. Grit, get out of here. That boy airballed a free throw. He ain't that dude. Don't start acting like that now. It is just what it is. Y'all, listen. I'm not standing for any Giannis. You're not going to talk about Giannis tonight. You're not going to talk about Giannis ever, because number one, you have no room to talk about the 2-time MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. He's won every award, and he's going to win the finals this year, and he will win a finals MVP. And then the hate for Giannis can go away. Nobody's going to slander Giannis anymore. It's not going to happen. The man went out in Game 7 in Kevin Durant's house, where he plays, where he eats, where he sleeps, and dropped a 40 on him and won. What are we sitting here talking about Giannis and what he can or cannot do? I don't care about his free throw shooting. I don't care about any of that. He still has 40 points. For a guy that can't hit free throws or can't shoot the three-pointer, scoring 40 points is pretty darn good then. Wouldn't you say, Noah? I would say that's pretty good. For a guy that can't do a lot of things but can drop 40 points in a Game 7, Westbrook only has one MVP. But, hey, that's all right. Giannis has got 2 in the last 2 years. This series it's like it almost leaves you speechless. Like, it really does. Like, they were left, and I know Milwaukee was a 3 seed and Brooklyn was a 2 seed. And look, they're both really good teams. They really were. Brooklyn had the better team on paper. There's no doubt about it. Their role players are better than Milwaukee's. Joe Harris, for whatever reason, struggled throughout the series, but they're still a good they still have really good players. I mean, Blake Griffin, revitalized down in after leaving Detroit. Jeff Green, who had a weird game tonight. James Harden played his best game of the series. Obviously, he was coming back off that hamstring injury. Bruce Brown had a really good game, 14 points and a couple of rebounds. But it came down to the thing that's going to eventually help the Milwaukee Bucks win an NBA championship. It's defense. Look, Kevin Durant earned everything, and the man is phenomenal. The man is absolutely dominant. But he earned it. Every point that he's made in this series, every shot that he's made, and it really comes down to just making shots. It's a make or miss league, obviously, but Kevin Durant has earned everything. He's got PJ Tucker was in his face every game from the start to finish, and I know he had a phenomenal game 5. My mom, shout out, she's over on Facebook. If anything, at the end of the day, we beat KD. We got to shoot a little higher for the Stars. Let's check out some of the comments. CR Mets 23 is over on Twitter. I liked how hard the Bucks played despite the adversity and the free throw discrepancy on the road. And that's all you can ask for. Look, you're on the road. I don't care if you got to crawl, scratch, fight, bite, whatever you got to do on the road in a game 7 in the Eastern Conference playoffs. I don't care what you got to do. Win. That's all I want. Just win. That's all anybody wants. I don't care how you do it. I don't care if it's ugly. Win. And look, we're going to get, as Bucks fans, we're going to be told that we were supposed to win because the injuries. We were supposed to win because, whatever. Nobody picked us to win. Nobody thought we were going to win. And they did it. And I couldn't be more proud to be a Milwaukee Bucks fan. Win or lose, obviously, that's my team. This is my city. But this just feels a little bit special because you're going up against a powerhouse. They constructed that team to beat Milwaukee. They wanted to outscore. They wanted to outrun. They wanted to outshoot and beat the Milwaukee Bucks within a 7-game series. And they really could have. And I'm telling you right now, as a Milwaukee fan, Brooklyn has got to be looking at, if they go home tonight, maybe in a day or two, and they look back at that game, at this series, game 3 was the one. It was the one. And I told you guys that after game 3, after the Milwaukee Bucks had defeated the Brooklyn Nets 86-83 in a really ugly game, I said, number one, it felt like a lot when we lost to Toronto in 2018-2019, where we were up 2-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals. We go into Toronto, and the game goes to overtime, and it could have easily been won by the Milwaukee Bucks. They end up losing that game, and they don't win another game. Now, I know Brooklyn eventually went on to win another game in this series, game 5, that is. But had they have won game 3, in a very winnable game at that, they would have, without a doubt, won the series, being up 3-0 with with 2 games at home. Or, excuse me, 1 game at home. So they would have won more than likely being up 3-0. Now, it's not out of the realm of possibility, but, they could have easily have lost that series had they lost game 3. And that's the thing about it. Even after the Milwaukee Bucks had won game 3, everybody was telling us that they weren't going to win another game in this series, that they just couldn't do it. And they gutted out every single win. They fought. They were fighting against the referees. Say what you want about the NBA officiating tonight. It wasn't as bad. There's obviously going to be calls that go both ways. There's going to be calls that are terrible. There's going to be calls that just don't really make a whole lot of sense. And as Bucks fans, we criticize the officials more than anything because it seems like they're always out to get us, or they're out to not want us to play in a finals or Eastern Conference Finals and make big calls. The NBA is mad right now. If you don't think the NBA is mad right now that they're not getting a Brooklyn, Philly, more than likely Philly is probably going to win tomorrow at home in game 7. I guess anything's possible. The Bucks just won in Brooklyn, but Philly, Brooklyn would have probably has the star power. Joel Embiid, Kevin Durant, James Harden. The NBA is not really happy right now. And I told you guys, I said if the Bucks won game 4, they were going to win this series. Now they go back to Brooklyn and they lose game 5 in a game that they probably should have won and would have closed out in game 6 like they did the other night. But hey, it took 7 games, and guess what? I don't want to hear Coach Mike Budenholzer slander. Better slow down quick. Better slow down. Winning 2 out of the last 3 games in this series to defeat the Brooklyn Nets to move on to the Eastern Conference Finals, where you're 4 wins away from playing in the NBA Finals for the first time since the early 70s. And that's all you can ask for. That's all you can ask for is a chance. And he has given them a chance. They are playing tough, sound, fundamentally sound defense. Rebound the ball. Let's check out some of the box score stuff, get you guys caught up on that. Again, Milwaukee Bucks do win game 7, 115-111. Both teams kind of shot it pretty even from the field. Milwaukee at 43.9, Brooklyn at 46.4. So no real advantage there. 3-pointers is where Brooklyn just they weren't what they normally are. 30% at 12 out of 39. Milwaukee, where it's usually at during the season, at 41.7. Now free throws. Free throws are going to probably what swayed this game into the direction that it did go in, although Milwaukee still won. Shooting 66% for Milwaukee and 84 to Brooklyn. Milwaukee just didn't shoot well. 14 out of 21. Brooklyn had 21 out of 25. So rebound the ball, kind of even. Assists, basically even. Defensive, the blocks and the steals. Milwaukee had the advantage on both of those. 7 blocks and 9 steals to Brooklyn's 3 blocks and 4 steals. Turnovers, just like free throws, are going to eventually come into play. The Milwaukee Bucks had 7 turnovers to Brooklyn's 13. That's huge. That's big time. And again, points in the paint, both even, and personal fouls, both even. So really a lot of this stuff came down to the little things that don't come on in box score. What comes out on a box score, obviously we have in front of us. What shots you make, how many shots you make, how many shots you miss, how many times you steal the ball. We know all of that. The stuff that doesn't come up on a stat sheet is PJ Tucker, is Brook Lopez. Defensive stops. Getting stops when you need him. Getting those loose balls. Shout out to Big Mike. He's over on Twitter. Thank you so much for tuning in, man. I appreciate you. So getting those shots, or getting those, doing the little things that don't always come up on a box score, that's the difference in this series. Now, PJ Tucker in game 6 had the highest plus or minus on anybody on the floor at that time. Anybody. And he scored one, he made one shot. So for that guy to go out there and, basically do nothing but play really good, tough defense and be the highest rated player on the floor on both teams to win a game 6, to give your team a chance in game 7, and then ultimately go into Brooklyn and win game 7. It feels like the Bucks just won the finals. My Twitter's going crazy. The live feed is going crazy. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Brew City Lounge post-game show. As always, as I always will be, I am your host, Brandon. You can follow me on Twitter at Wisco_Brandon. Just a few more minutes on this. I know there's a lot of stuff going on right now. I am debating if I'm going to drive down to the airport. It's literally like a mile down my street and greet the Bucks tonight and let them know how much we appreciate them. And if you're in the area, I would highly recommend it. It could be a lot of fun. I think I'm going to go try and do that. So I'm going to try to get out of here in a couple minutes, but I had to get on. I wasn't planning on it. I had a friend ask me earlier and I was like, no, probably not. I had a long day out at the lake with all the kids and the boat and stuff. So I was just kind of chilling, but what a series. What a monumental step forward, for this Milwaukee Bucks team. And I think a mental hurdle for Giannis going forward, knowing that he can beat these guys. Now, Kevin Durant played out tonight, 48 points in 53 minutes. I mean, he didn't sit the entire game. Giannis played 50 minutes, so he only sat for 3 minutes. So again, it's good for Giannis to get number 1 of game 7. The Milwaukee Bucks have never won a road game 7 until tonight. So that's absolutely huge. Going into a place where you were supposed to lose, everybody picked Brooklyn. everybody was picking Brooklyn to win this series, and it wasn't going to be, upsetting. I mean, it would have been upsetting, but it almost expected had the Bucks gone into Brooklyn and lost. Now, again, that didn't happen tonight. This Milwaukee Bucks team is going on to the Eastern Conference Finals to either play the Atlanta Hawks or Philadelphia 76ers. Now, keep in mind, if Atlanta does win tomorrow, the Milwaukee Bucks will have home court advantage in the Eastern Conference Finals. So that could add a little sway into who you are rooting for tomorrow. I know I'm rooting for Atlanta, but knowing my luck, we'll probably end up playing Philadelphia. But that's all right, because I really don't think that this team, I don't think they're going to lose anybody. And I agree with Big Mike, and he's over on Twitter. Follow the show on Twitter at Brew City Pod. Not scared of who is next. We are the best team left, and I don't disagree. And you can make a real serious argument for both conferences that this team is the best team left. Now, I know Phoenix is really good and the Clippers are good, but they're battling with Chris Paul on the COVID list. They're battling Kawhi Leonard out in Los Angeles with the knee injury. I don't necessarily want to put my foot into my mouth too soon, but Philly has never been a team that I've gone out and been afraid of playing. I think the Bucks match up fairly well with them. That's going to be a fun series. If it does go against Philly, that's going to be a tough series. That's probably going to go 6 or 7 games. They got a good team, and they're coached by a really good guy in Doc Rivers. But your Milwaukee Bucks have just won Game 7 on the road in Brooklyn. If you were on the live stream, please, with one word, just let me know how you're feeling, because I cannot come up with a word right now of how I'm feeling. I just can't believe it happened. And it does feel like a championship. But that's the thing with how we've been told, how we've been formulated to believe that we weren't good enough to win this series from the start. From the start of this series, before it even happened, we were told, first off, we were told we could lose in the first round against the Miami Heat. And we were told constantly, over and over again, that we just weren't going to be able to beat them, even with the injuries to, James Harden and Kyrie Irving. Now it is what it is. I mean, we can't help the injuries. It's just we can't do it. It is what it is. But what I can say is that this team is moving on in a way, and CR Mets 23 drops in a comment over on YouTube, Twitter. Exhausted. Yes. Exhausted is the exact word. That's a great one for it. I think that, look, so many ups and downs throughout this series. And shout out to Brooklyn. I mean, they do have a good team. They do have a really good team. Kevin Durant's really damn good. I mean, one of the best scorers, one of the best pure scorers in the NBA, maybe we've ever seen. I just think that I think it's the Bucks here. It has a feeling of being a Milwaukee Bucks here. It feels like it's just their year to do something that they haven't done in a very, very long time. And I told you guys when they lost Game 2, I said, I'm not going to sit here and stand for any Giannis slander. This guy's going to do it. One day, one moment, he's going to do it. And he showed up tonight in Game 7. I don't want to hear your slander about Giannis. I don't care about his free throw shooting. I don't care about his free throw routine. I don't care about any of that. The man scored 40 points in a Game 7 on the road. That's all you need to say. He's a 2-time MVP, and he dropped a 40 bucket on the road in a deciding Game 7 with 12 rebounds. Start putting some respect on Giannis's name. That's all I'm going to say, because the disrespect with Giannis is getting a little out of hand. And I am going to sit here every single day and defend Giannis for as long as I can, because the man just does everything. But he's consistently told, and fans are consistently told, what he can't do. Well, his team just won Game 7 against the Brooklyn Nets in a deciding Game 7 to go to the Eastern Conference Finals, where, again, and I agree with CR Mets, he dropped a comment and said exhausted. It feels like this was the finals. It feels like the Bucks just won the championship. And I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing right now, because I'm so happy that they are moving on, but it does feel like it was a little bit of a too much of a celebration as far as fans go. People are FaceTiming me, calling me, my mom, my sister texting me. Don't get me wrong. It feels great, and we're going to enjoy it. We're going to enjoy this for a while. Chris Middleton with the clutch shot in OT. I mean, we're going to celebrate it. We're going to enjoy it. We get an extra day of rest tomorrow while we watch and see who we're going to face in the Eastern Conference Finals. And how intriguing would it be if it is Atlanta? Think about it. Bogdan Bogdanovic, who was supposed to be in Milwaukee. I mean, there's storylines for both these teams, Milwaukee and Philly, for the longest time had ties to each other with rebuilding and the draft in 2014 with Jabari Parker and Joel Embiid. So either way, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun, and whoever comes out of the Eastern Conference, whoever wins is going to represent the Eastern Conference really well and have a good chance at winning a championship. But boy, does this feel good. This feels amazing. And I am so proud of this team. Just the fight, the grit. Look, when people told them they couldn't and they went out and they did on the biggest stage where everybody is watching, everybody is critiquing, everybody's tweeting, talking about it, the Milwaukee Bucks do, in fact, go out there and win a huge Game 7 on the road against the Brooklyn Nets, who have a lot of questions coming up for their team during the offseason. I called this on Friday's show with Armin. I said the Bucks are going to win in 7. I didn't give a prediction with the score because I tend to, predict with my heart too much. But I did say the Milwaukee Bucks were going to win, and they do go out and win. So super excited. I'm going to jump off this, guys. I'm going to go down and wait on the plane and greet the Milwaukee Bucks. So look, I appreciate you guys coming on. I know this was like kind of a last second post-game show and it wasn't necessarily planned. But the support and the comments and everything that's going on the live chat, I appreciate you guys. You can follow me on Twitter at Wisco_Brandon. Please follow the show on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter. I'm like trying to think right now. My brain is going crazy right now. I'm so happy. You can follow that on those platforms at Brew City Pod and make sure you subscribe on the YouTube channel. Greatly appreciate it. We'll see. I think the Eastern Conference I think they believe they would start Tuesday or Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll be here live after Game 1. Tune in on Tuesday's show. We're going to be talking all about this Milwaukee Bucks win. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to my dad. I know he's watching over here on YouTube. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Enjoy this one. This is a sweet Father's Day this year. Have a good night, guys.